everybody. It's Thursday.
And welcome to this week's edition of The Night Bite.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Emily.
And this is Muttcat.
I was going to say, it looks like Fisher was almost trying to disconnect our computer. I mean, he runs a little bit wild sometimes and, hangs out with us sometimes. But in this case, he was about to go through all the computer wires. And that's not an option during the show. So I guess one of the first things that we always do is kind of start out with where we are at in the season and how fishing is going. And that's actually... I'm looking at Josh's face. He's already making a face. He's like, shoot, I forgot she was going to bring this up. But that's because we're at an interesting place in our season right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been transition, and it's been transitioning for what seems like forever.
So what does that mean? We're in transition.
Well, I mean, you move from one place to another. That's
what season is exactly right. That's what I'm getting at.
So I guess we're going from spring or from winter to spring.
But are we going, or where are we at still?
I don't know. You tell me.
We have not been on ice in over a week, so I'll give you that. And
river season, Scotty.
The interesting thing is that there's been rain, and it is amazing how much wind can deteriorate ice. But we drove past one of our favorite little launches today, where we catch fish. Better early season than late season, but I could still get out there. I mean, bring a spud bar because it's that time of the season. It's it's late ice, but I mean, I didn't even have to jump a shoreline. There was no honeycombing.
Maybe. No, there's no honeycombing. We still have a little bit of snow on top. It's been cloudy. We had it was snow and then a little bit of rain, and it froze pretty hard up by us, and now it's going to be 70 degrees next week. So we don't know where we're transitioning into. We could be transitioning right back into winter for all I know after next week. It'd be 70 and then negative 30. So, it's just that tough time of year when you just find whatever open water or closed water you can and do your best to be safe. Up north, they're a little bit more stable. Like John said, they have some bite going on up there yet. And yeah, like quite honestly, we just have been running around. My parents came and visited our house for the first time in 6 months since we moved here. Mm-hmm. And we've had other stuff going on. So after this weekend.
But the interesting thing, though, I mean, because we're not going to hit the ice this weekend, and we're not going to hit open water, but, because Easter, and we're seeing family, to be honest. But that is the thing, is people have that choice this time of the season, is that there are places with ice, and there are many people who have hit rivers because they're open.
Yeah, so that's one of the fortunate things, is that we're not completely stuck in limbo. At least where we're at, we have a little bit of open water to fish, and it's been pretty good up until this last rain event. The flow's been steady, but not like flood stagey, and not until this last weekend did we get up, have that really high water come in. I saw some stuff over on the bay and in the river in De Pere where the water was really dirty. So anglers have been battling that. Myself, since I can't be on the water, I've just been prepping for walleye season. So I've been like tying jigs, and I've been painting some blade baits, and I'll be pouring some plastics and just getting the arsenal ready.
Well, and use your resources, because this is the time of the year to do things like watch the Wolf River Cam. Because one of the trends I've noticed on that Facebook page this year, as opposed to others, is at least where those cameras are, those fish seem to be traveling at night. Not exclusively, kind of that spring action is what it is. But you are able to see those trends in real time. So that is super interesting.
Yep.
With that, I guess, to everybody at home, to everyone who's checked in, hello to all of you, and to anyone who hasn't said hi yet, feel free to check in. Let us know where you're at, or what your ice or open water conditions are, or if you're even getting to fish this weekend, because we are interested in that. Mm-hmm. Also, if you have bass fishing questions, this is the night to bring it up, because quite frankly, our guest that we're going to bring up here in a minute is going to be able to answer that. And I guess guess without further ado, I feel like person I need like a drum roll for. So Darran, I think you're muted. Let's get that fixed. But welcome to the show.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me back. It's always awesome.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being here.
Been
And your epic hat wall. I like that.
Us ball guys need to keep the dome looking fresh.
Yep.
Yeah, I picked mine up at an expo one time.
Yeah, that's a pretty
awesome
one. If I had hair, I'd wear that one.
Yeah, it's a ponytail one. That is fun. Yeah. So it's easy to jump in and just start chatting because you are a fun person to have here. But, in case there's anybody at home who has not met you or doesn't know who you are yet, can you give us like the short synopsis, a little bit about yourself?
Yep, real quick. So
it doesn't have to be. Tell us anything you want. The floor is open.
Perfect. Well, my name's Darran. I work with Line Cutterz, and we made products that cut all your fishing line, monofloral braid, lead core, you name it. So that's kind of how I got started deep into fishing. So we have a store down in Texas. We were featured on Shark Tank about 6 years ago. Do a lot of ice fishing around the Midwest, obviously with Striker, how I met you all. Actually, might have been a trade show before that even.
Yep.
So I live in Burnsville, Minnesota, and fish a lot of the local tournaments, tournament trails here for bass, and then the feeder program for the MLF.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. That's so interesting that you said that Line Cutterz is in Texas, because for some reason I thought it was in Florida. But they do post such awesome, like tropical, wonderful, warm pictures when we're here in winter.
You never know where we're at. We travel to so many trade shows. It's like, I feel like I'm a traveling like gypsy. People are like, what state are you in? And I'm like, I don't even know any half the time. Just keep on going.
Yeah, and I have to, Pete is bringing up a really great question, actually, because it's one of the first things I noticed, and I'm sure other people at home too. So bring that comment back up, Josh. Pete is asking, how do you get your hat so straight? I don't think you measure that accurately. But for real, like, how do you build a hat wall like that?
Well, I can't really give credit to that. That would be Kat, who's anal retentive. And I was like, they look fine. She's like, they're crooked. So she was here with like a pencil, and there was some rulers and some levels. Yeah, that's not my doing. That is not my doing at all.
It is nice. Oh, that's so funny. He's laughing.
Looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's for sure. We do. I mean, as anglers, we do have a lot of different hats. I don't know. I just accumulated them all of a sudden.
Yeah. I mean, the best is like when you go to trade shows, because everybody gives hats and you're like, I don't even know where I got this, but it looks cool. It's going up on the wall.
That's so funny. But you were talking about Line Cutterz, and that is the hat that you are wearing tonight. And did you say that they're building a new facility?
We are. So we started again in Texas, our main one. And now, since I live in Burnsville, we'll have one in Savage, Minnesota. So it's about 7-minute car ride door to door to my house, which is like, it's freaking awesome. It's really, really cool. A lot of work. We started doing the demo about 2.5 weeks ago, and there was things that, when you hear like, oh, we remodeled and no one touched the electricity since the 70s, that was the building. So, it was a lot of work. Like, I'm not built for that. I'll go to the gym, but like jackhammering and stuff, that's usually not for me. But I learned a lot, that's for sure.
Well, and it's actually really interesting to hear that, because if you watch the Line Cutterz, at least the Facebook page especially, they do kind of share a lot of their history, that the buildings they come into, haven't always been in good condition. And I don't know if that's part of being a small company and growing and not just buying a beautiful building off the bat, or if it's the nature of good people just wanting to revitalize communities. But it's nice when both those things can come together. Yeah,
no, and we can't, and that's kind of what we do. We don't have the pockets to just go build a multi-million-dollar company. But we also have such a great team and friends and family that I can call on a Saturday and be like, hey, you want to come jackhammer and break down some walls? And they say yes faster than I get it, out of my mouth. So we are very, very thankful for our team and our friends and our family. And once it's done, it just makes it even like that much more like sweet. You know what I mean? You're like, we did that. Like the electrical, if that fails, that's me. Just kidding.
Oh gosh, we know who to call.
Yeah, actually, Hunter came all the way. So we talk about how close our team is. Hunter drove 5.5 hours through the night from, I think he's in Sheboygan, and he's an electrician. He did all of our electrical work, all the work to a T. So I mean, yeah, drove 5 hours straight after his shift, got here at like midnight, worked for 2 days straight, and went back to Sheboygan.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So
we do really like Hunter. I believe we've had him on the show before. He runs a bow fishing operation out of the east side of Wisconsin here. So it's if you haven't heard of Hunter, I believe it's Bow Fishing Adventures.
Modified Outdoors.
Modified Outdoors. That's
the same Hunter. That's the Hunter that you're talking about.
Yeah, Modified Outdoors.
Oh my gosh, what a cool
if you're in the Wisconsin area and you want, he has, like, besides the electrician part, which if you haven't seen his boat, you can definitely tell he's an electrician.
Oh my gosh.
But if you want a really cool experience, he has all the awesome gear. He has awesome boats. Like, he'll take you out and get some big carp on your boat.
Yeah, and the cool thing with Hunter too is, I mean, the guy's full of energy. Like, you can go with a guide that you could fall asleep with. Hunter will not ever give you that option. Like, he is just like, he's worth the money, for people to book him. Like, I would recommend it 100 times over.
That's awesome.
So then is the new store like totally complete and open, or what's the plan?
Nope. So what we have now is we have the floor done, and we took out all the walls, and we still have like the ceiling to do, HVAC, kind of that really important stuff. But we're putting a new roof on because there's a couple spots that's leaking. We can't do all that stuff before we get the roof done. But the 11 inches of snow last week did not help getting up on the roof. So we're at a little bit of standstill. We're thinking maybe like June. I would bet first or middle of June. But we are selling kayaks out of there. So I have appointments every day with people coming and picking up kayaks that we had brought up for the Northwest Sports Show.
Yeah, one day that will be me.
Yeah. You already have it picked out, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just always feel like I need to reshop for it. But I could be convinced into so many, because that's the thing. They all have so many cool options and stability and this and that and cool drive system this or whatever cool thing that, and it just every year they get better.
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming, now, the MLF has, or the Bassmasters too, they have professional tours now. Like, what you can do in a kayak it's literally unbelievable. Like power poles. Some of those guys, I'm like, that thing has more stuff on it than my boat does. And you can go in 6 inches of water.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's pretty cool. I went, again, with Line Cutterz, we get to do a lot of cool things that I wouldn't do normally. And I had flown out to Texas to the Houston Fishing Show, and I went redfish is huge there, and I never caught one. I attempted it numerous times, and I had a guy from Hoodoo, Joel, took me out, and that guy is like the best of the best. He cashes checks on the redfish series, and to go with a guy that was like, just cast over there, and I had my first one in like 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, this is awesome. But we would have never got back there, with a boat. And then you got to watch the tide, because like we had to like port our kayaks, but by the time we got back, we just went right over where we portage. So it was
wow.
Yeah, it's a whole different beast for sure.
Wow. Well, that was so interesting, because, before you brought up kayaks, my next question about the store was going to be like, what are they going to carry other than Line Cutterz device? Because they are, so compact and like easy to carry around. So to fill a whole store is hard, but certainly if you're putting kayaks in there, that makes a great opportunity to kind of look and compare all across what you have. Yeah.
And then we're going to, since we're a small business too, we want to also support businesses locally too. Anybody can get and I'm not knocking anything by any means at all. We're going to have your standard Rapala, Northland Tackle, Bagley. But, there's a lot of independent people like Freedom Baits. And, we want to give back to the people that support us. But, and we'll have Daiwa and, all the Daiwa rods, your basic rods. But we definitely want to bring in some custom rods from the area too, just to, kind of keep things local.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is going to be awesome. And in case there are people at home who are unfamiliar with line cutters, that's almost hard to believe these days because I feel like they're kind of everywhere. But I mean, do you have like an original line cutters device at hand? I'm putting you on the spot. I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this.
No, if I didn't have one, I would be in big trouble. But I might have one or a couple. So hold on.
As he knocks
Oh no, the hat's.
Un minuto. Oh gosh, you guys put me on the spot. All right, hold on. I'm grabbing all of them. Uh-oh. Oh no, I'm gonna be fired. I think I took all the rings. Hold on. Oh, am I not prepared? I'm so embarrassed.
No, don't be. No.
I'm gonna make this happen.
One of the great things. Specific. Well, one of the great things about Line Cutterz too is in the few years that they've been, in business, they've gotten a lot of innovation in such a small little thing for such a
I'm in trouble.
For such a specific task. But they really have come out with some tools that kind of cater to different people. And oh my!
I'm in trouble, dude. I broke the hat wall.
So you got some of the original stuff probably in front of you, and you also have some new stuff. So cover all of it.
Yeah. So and this one's even blinged out here. Look at this.
Oh yeah, that is actually cool.
So yeah, our very first one was a ring. It's fully adjustable, so you can wear these. You can actually put them right on your fishing poles, boat rails if you want to. This one's blinged out because we have a sister company called Line Cutterz, so works for knitting and sewing as well. So if you're into that industry.
Is that how that one comes, or you custom did that?
So these ones will actually come like this. So we have different designs with the crystals on it. So
do I have to order that from the sewing website, or can I get it from the fishing one?
This would have to be from sewing, or message me directly. And Kat brought this down because I was in here scurrying. I don't know how I don't have like a gazillion in here right now. So
don't worry, we won't tell Vance.
He's watching too. So this is the one he closed the deal with on Shark Tank, was the ring, not the specific one. But then we went to our flat mounts that we make now for like Triton, Falcon boats. We made them for a Lumacraft Skeeter, and that one will come with 3M tape on the back. And
this one sounds like it's fresh out of the package.
I just opened it. Yeah. So yeah, you can put this on your boat, kayak, Vexlar for ice fishing. So we've made some custom ones for Vexlar as well. And then the zipper pull, which most people really, really know because this is going to come on a majority of your striker gear. So any soft-sided, tackle bags, swim trunks, you name it, all completely safe, but this will cut your monofoil and braid. And again, physically can't cut you. And then that leads us into our brand new one, which is our micro scissor. And this one will have your serrated snips. How can I see this?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yep. So it's like a little Pac-Man. And then you have your ceramic blade on top still. So what's cool about this one is now we have it. We have all of our products in 12 new colors, which is kind of cool, from glow in the dark to orange. But ICAST is the world's biggest fishing expo, and it's in Orlando. So we took home Best at Show at ICAST in the cutlery division. So we're talking Bubba Blade, Gruber Plier. I mean, you name it, like the big boys, we took them down. So we were, beyond honored, you know what I mean, to like win something like that over multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah, and I really like that micro scissor. That's something that I keep on my tackle box actually, and then I have both the zipper pull and a ring somewhere on my ice suit most of the time. And we actually have flat mounts in our lure room because we use it on our thread track for rod building. And so
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
covers, it covers a lot of ground at our house, at least. Um, from making fishing stuff to using fishing stuff, it's a really useful tool. And the fact that the ceramic cutters don't rust
Yeah.
is super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't lose our products, typically they're going to outlast. I mean, you're going to lose it before it's going to not cut for you anymore, and it's nice because, yeah, like you were saying, for building rods, a lot of the fly guys will use them instead of, when they're actually doing their own flies. We got in the medical field. It's being used scuba diving. So there's a lot of people are using Ed the diver from Wisconsin. We just teamed up with Ed, and he's like, dude, this is awesome. I mean, I would love to dive with that guy one time just to get some of those lures, but yeah, it's kind of all over the place, which is really, really cool because it just was one simple idea. And now, yeah, it's weird that people are coming up to the house wanting to take pictures when they're in the yard. You're like, oh, crap, like, whatever, Kat would be like outside and she'll be like, some guy came up and asked if my husband was home. We're like, yep, we're here. Oh, and Scotty just said too, this is really cool too. And I almost forgot about this. We just closed the deal with Louis Vuitton.
Oh, that's awesome.
How nuts is that?
Cool.
Yeah, so they're using them in the factory when they're making all the purses, the not multi-million, but you know what I mean, $3,000 purses and stuff. So we closed with them, and then I'm working on, which I'm really big into high-end fashion. I thought Louis Vuitton and Louis Vuitton was the same people, so I reached out to them. Quickly found out that it was not, but now I'm working with Louis Vuitton on the shoes.
Nice.
So it worked out pretty well.
That's really funny. That's awesome. Well, and I mean, that is super impressive. And everyone, I mean, that's a cool thing to be able to brag about. Like, I'm using the same tools as, these other places. But, I love that you also even just mentioned the scuba diving and Ed the diver, because that's exactly one of the things I was going to bring up. Certainly, I don't expect any of our viewers to be, scuba divers, but that would be cool. Let us know if you are. But what he does is he does go down to lakes and rivers and fishing hot spots, and he pulls out not just the garbage, but just like these massive chunks of where the snags, where the lures accumulate. And if you watch the show, like a little while back, and he's like using just his dive gloves and like trying to rip it out of all these places. But it's funny, you can tell like when, I don't know if you guys found him or he found you or how that all happened, but all of a sudden he has this Line Cutterz device and he is able to, more safely kind of break through these snags and like clean up these waterways. So that is really unique. But I just even love seeing how that works, that old thick line, underwater. It doesn't matter what you're putting this device through, it just works.
Yeah, and we work with a lot of like the parks and recs too, like the CCA, and they'll go out and they'll clean up, or if they have, for example, like a shark or a whale that's with all this line around them or weed, they'll use our products because they can get in closer and not worry about actually cutting the mammal or whatever they may be. And we're like, again, it's not something we're like, this is where it's going, like we're gonna save dolphins. But they're using them for things like that where we didn't even, that wasn't a thought, just like the thread cutters. Vance and I aren't sewers, quilters. I can talk the talk, but I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. Oh my gosh. And so for people who maybe haven't used one of these before, can you explain if they ever need sharpening?
Yeah, which is cool, is they do not need sharpening. You're not going to get replacement blades. It's the patent that actually makes them outlast anything that you have. For example, like scissors, you're going to have a pivot point in the middle of your scissors. So if you're cutting, say, 30-pound mono, for example, and then you wanted to go cut 10-pound braid, the diameter of the line is so much more thick. So it's going to weaken out that pivot joint. You're not going to be able to cut your braid. So with all of our products, you're going to be able to put your line right through there, and it actually feeds it right in. You have two different surfaces. One's bent down, the other one's this. So that will actually bring it right in and cut. So that's what makes this outlast anything that you have. Now with our micro scissor, I tell people, this is going to wear out at some point. Just like any other, you could pay $150 for a pair of scissors and they'll wear out. So if you're using like smaller line, monofloral braid, use this. If it gets heavier, then use, your ceramic on top. And that's just going to literally make this last, not forever, but it's going to definitely give you a couple of years of use.
Dude, can you hold up those scissors one more time like you just did?
Like this?
Yeah, but like you're cutting.
Oh, like the little Pac-Man?
Yeah, dude, to have them flip that logo, you're upside down. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
You can only use that hand to cut.
Yeah, this is it. It's reversed on the image here, I think.
Oh my gosh, I'm totally kidding. It's the
And
camera
and they lock into place too. So like if you're not using them, you can actually lock them into place. And another cool thing is they're TSA approved. So if you are traveling, you can actually take these with you.
That is actually super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Gosh, I never would have thought of that. That is super cool.
And it's not as much in the sewing or in the fishing side, but when people are traveling international for these quilt markets, like depending on who the TSA agent is, you might be able to take your scissors there, but you don't get to take them back. So it's like Russian roulette, but here you're good to go.
That's awesome. I guess we've talked a lot about these devices, and I guess, I almost was gonna now see I'm torn in which way to take this conversation because here's why.
1 second.
Yeah.
Wait, there's more. There's more.
Okay,
right?
that's what I was worried about because I was gonna start asking you about fishing, but there is more.
There is more. So we just got our patents for our seatbelt and window breaker by Line Cutterz. So that's going to be pretty exciting. It cuts through a seatbelt like a hot knife through butter.
Do you have one?
What's that?
Do you have one?
I don't. We have one in the making, and that's in Texas in a glass case. So that's been really cool. I know Vance had talked to a lot of the first responders and stuff, and kind of designed it. It's not like we invented the wheel, but this one is definitely gonna again, just like this. It's gonna be the best one that's out there. So that's been pretty cool. We're gonna release that at ICAST, so everybody has a seatbelt, so might as well be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and especially when you think of situations like ice fishing, you've always heard things about, first of all, driving on the ice is at your own risk and something that you don't do, without being careful. And have your windows rolled down and maybe not wear your seatbelts. That as you're slowly moving across the ice, that's the safest possible way to try to do that, But if you were in a situation where your seatbelt got stuck or something, especially if you're on the ice, you want to be able to get free. So, having a device like that close at hand, as an angler, as just a person in life, that could be important.
Yeah, and especially with how finicky the ice was this year, people were like, "Oh, I'm driving out," and then all of a sudden they're in the water. It was it was kind of scary towards the end of the year of what's good ice, what's bad ice, and what was that, Lake Pepin? There was 12 trucks that were in the water, and it's that wasn't expected. You never know what can happen.
Well, and not to overshadow the fact that a lot of early season and late season travel is on foot, and a lot of us have resorted to using harnesses. And so just having something that's small enough to be able to fit on your picks, maybe, the pick lanyard, and you can fit it on there and you could be able to cut yourself free from your gear. Just if your sled happens to go in behind you, and instead of pulling you in, you can quick cut that off.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Gear go, and you can at least have a chance to recover it later instead of being in the water and getting pulled in. Agreed.
But you'll have your striker suit on too, so.
Yep. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's what else do you say? Yep. Yep.
Mic drop right there, dang it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. But I think that is the point though, is that especially as an angler, you do always go prepared, because whether it is ice, whether it is open water, gosh, there's a million things. There's a million things that can go wrong between you leaving the launch and going and catching a fish. You know,
Yeah.
did you get the boat plug in? Do you have enough gas? Is there oil? Is there this? Is there that? Are the batteries charged? Is, you know, and just, you know, as the usually everything lines up and it's great. And that's why we go back, is because it's fun to catch fish, but it's important to be able to keep it that way.
Yeah. And I think the excitement, no matter how experienced you are, I know that I've done dumb stuff, like just so excited to get out there, and you're like, how did I forget that? You know what I mean? It's something so simple. You do it 1,000 times, but it's just getting out there. It's just, I don't know. If you can't sleep, you can't sometimes remember other important things.
And so for people at home who are getting excited about this, when can we look forward to seeing this awesome new device?
So we're going to release it at ICAST, which will be, I think it's like July 11th. And then probably start taking pre-orders kind of around then, if not kind of sooner. Because
I'm putting my order in tonight.
Yeah, because Vance officially cut seatbelt, or they were demoing it like 2 days ago just to make sure that it was as good as we anticipated, and it passed the cutting test. You know, we, even with all of our products, I mean, we use like a force gauge meter to see how much pressure it takes to actually cut through line and seatbelts and yarn and thread. So it's going to be pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And hopefully we can come in and see it after ICAST at the new storefront in Minnesota, because that would be awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be cool if you guys came to the grand opening. So that is going to be, like I said, probably the first part of June. And we're going to be giving away like a pedal drive kayak. There's going to be a raffle for that. Coolers, rods, reels. We'll have live band. Probably a couple cocktails, some food. It's just.
Are you going to be there?
I hope so.
I'm in.
If not, just drive 7 minutes to my house. But yeah, I mean, we'll have stuff for the kids and stuff like that too. Dog friendly. You know, I'm a freak about dogs, so there's stuff there for dogs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
So talking about all these line cutter devices in the store and all of that, and one of the things about all of this, I guess the common thread is getting out onto the water, and that is something that you do as well. So I feel like you must have like an alter ego, like a double life. Like, where do you get all this time? Do you have a twin secretly? Because you also have a whole fishing career.
I do. It's called no sleep.
Yeah.
So I am, you know, you play hard, you work hard, and at some point they cross paths. So yeah, as soon as I get, you know, I have the luxury of working from home. So I mean, I get up every morning, go to the gym. If I don't go to the gym, I hit the water before work, and then after work, I hit the water again. So it's just kind of like repeat, you know, like eat, sleep, fish, talk fishing, work fishing. Hopefully catch fish. That's the plan. I mean, sometimes the plan doesn't work out. Majority it doesn't, but there's some days where I get kind of lucky. But yeah, on the water a lot for sure.
And so you don't have open water right now?
I don't. So we've been, you know, we have the luxury kind of like you guys where we do the rivers. So in Monticello, it's pretty cool because the Monticello, the Mississippi, it doesn't freeze over because of the power plant. But there's large smallmouth. So we will fish that. We get to weight it. It's, you know, a snowstorm, but yet the water is still like 72 degrees. So we get lucky with that. That's pretty cool. And then we hit pool 4 as well, like by Hastings, Hager City. So we chase walleyes. I don't, you know, if I'm catching walleyes, that means like the bite's on because I have no idea what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like jig wrap. I learned one technique from Nicole Stone, and I'm just taking it to the grave. That's all I got. That's all I got for them, and whatever works. So, yeah. So we've been spending a lot of time, as much time as we can, you know, on the river.
And, I mean, I think a lot of people can identify with only having one good technique because, there's something to be said about confidence. You go out there, you try something new, and you actually get a fish to bite. I mean, I guess I'll even admit this, the past few years, I've really stayed away from spoons because I feel like I never catch fish on spoons. Doesn't matter what kind of fish it is. I feel like I never have luck on them. And in any situation, I am feeling more prepared with like a jig and a whatever bait on it.
Yeah.
And then this past winter, I all of a sudden started using spoons and started catching fish, and now all of a sudden I'm like way into it. But that's the thing is that's all you need is like one good technique because if that's what the fish are biting on, then that's working.
Yeah,
I have the luxury of fishing with Emily, and so I'm one of the weird people. Like I like to see how many different ways I can catch fish. So most of the time, like Emily's catching fish, like we figure out something, and then I'll switch from what's working, and just see if there's for me it's like I have perpetual hope. Like, oh well, if I switch to this, maybe I'll catch bigger fish. And then Emily's like, we're already catching like 12-inch crappies. What else do you want? And it's like, well, there's bigger ones in there, so maybe if I switch over. So I'm that guy. I'm always trying something crazy, and it's like they're never gonna bite that. And then it's like, oh, I caught one. She's like, meh, meh, meh. But then I catch one, and then I catch one. Oh, hi, Finn.
Yeah, no, I do that with bass. Like, I have my definitely go-to lure. Like, I'll throw a wacky rig until I'm blue in the face. And there's some other staples, but sometimes I'll just throw something ridiculous. For example, like this guy. Like, I never threw really, really big. So then I saw Mr. Seth Fighter throw this thing, and Sam Sobey beat up on me in a couple tournaments with this guy. So I started throwing this thing like, man, if they can do it, this is a no-brainer. I've caught like 2 fish, but I still like it.
I still like it.
I'll still give it a try every once in a while, but it just doesn't have the same punch it does for those guys.
There is just something to be said, though, about using a confidence bait, because I think when you have faith in your lure, you just, I don't know, make a better jig cadence, or, I don't know what it is, but you do seem to catch more fish. So,
well, it just spends more time in the water. I think that's what it comes down to is, you can put a bare hook in the water and catch, fish on it eventually.
I cannot.
But it might not be a lot of them, but the more it's catching more fish than the stuff that's in your tackle box.
Right.
So, I mean, that's where confidence is the ultimate lure, because if you can build confidence in baits, and that's why I like switching so much, is because then all of this stuff becomes relevant. Then it all becomes relevant to me. That's why I carry it with me. But that's also a problem. That's why I have 3 duffel bags full of plastics and like a giant tackle box. And it's like, oh, what are you fishing for? How's the bass biting? And I'm like, oh, I'm fishing for bluegills. People look at me weird, you know, but that's what I like doing. And that's what works for me.
Yeah. And I just was reading a form, I guess, about everybody throws red, in the spring because, that's the color. Now, there's more red crankbaits and liplesses being thrown. So people are like, it's catching fish because more people are throwing it. So now it's like, this is it. We unlock the key, but it doesn't mean you can't put on a different color, but everybody is so like, red is the thing. Like, that's it. That's all you can throw. So now I buy 100 red crankbaits. Not saying it's going to work, but I mean, one of them has to catch a fish.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And so, I mean, I guess that's an interesting attitude though, for somebody who's a tournament fisherman though, because, when you are in new places all the time, or when you are not sure what the water clarity is going to be, I mean, you have to be somewhat flexible. So that's an interesting thing to mix with somebody who has, confidence baits in situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, with the MLF, with the feeder program right now, I'm a co-angler. So, when I take my boat out for tournaments, I have multiple rods. I have every bait in every color you could possibly think about, and I have anxiety about it. Like, if I don't have this one bait, if I lose it, like, the tournament's over. And, and Kat's like, you have like 100, tackle boxes on the boat. There's not one other lure. I'm like, nope, that was it. So
it's over.
Once I'm a co-angler, it's like 5 rods, which sounds like a lot to some people, and just a certain amount of things. And I'm like, if something's not working, I can't just go to the secret chest and be like, I'm throwing this thing, because you just got it's limited, and it's anxiety. Like it really gives me, like, oh man, I bet if I would have brought that one jerk bait, I would probably have won this thing, but it's not how she goes.
I like to blame that a lot on the stuff that I leave at home too.
Yeah.
Well, if I would have just brought, I know where it is. It's sitting right on that counter.
Like I told myself, not forget, this is the bait. I know it. I'm only one bad choice away from winning the MLF.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Oh gosh, that's really.
See,
this is the year.
This is the year. I'm remembering everyone.
Steven's thought here. That's my go-to. Like if all else fails, that's what I'm throwing on there.
What's that? The curly tail grub.
Yep. Can't beat it.
So I have a story about the curly tail grub.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have the Line Cutterz event in first part of May. So that's what kind of we're talking about if you guys wanted to come. And
we're inviting everybody on the show.
Yeah, like literally, the more the merrier. We have a resort that we rent out. So the more the merrier. Come on down.
You're gonna have to help build the new store though, so be prepared for that.
It's the weekend after, so I got that. And so we do, we do a fun little tournament with our teammates and friends, and we do 1 bass, 1 northern, and 1 walleye for the boat, and you do total inches. If you catch all 3, then you unlock another fish, so you could catch a bluegill, a crappie, or a white bass, right? So we've done it for 5 years. I've won it 4 years. But the year that I lost to it, Carla is like my little sidekick. And she, her and Lacrosse family and I have been super, super close for years. I met him at a trade show. So they come up to Chautauqua and they fish with us for this thing. And she was on the boat for a little bit. So she was on my team for a little bit at that point. And we were going to head back. And I just was kind of nervous having her on the boat, just Mach 1 through all this stuff. So we stopped at a bar to get a Bloody Mary, and Steve and them stopped too. And Carla was with us, and she was like, hey, can I go down on the dock and fish? And there's people everywhere. There's boats coming left and right. And we're like, sure, just yell if you need help. She was down there for like 5 minutes, and she's screaming, help, I need help. And I'm like, she just wants me to run down there, just to be funny. And she caught a gigantuous pike, like monstrous pike. So she did it all herself, reeled it in. We got it in the net finally, and she made the newspaper. But that fish, that's what made me lose the tournament, was that fish. On a cheerlead, in front of everybody. I lost it right in front of her. So Yep, that was it. And then I was like, well, she was on my boat. And Steve's like, no, you gave her up for a Bloody Mary. And I was like, crap, I did.
Oh no.
Yes, but I love those guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about that bait in particular, for me at least, and anybody that has watched this show or knows us personally knows that we love trolling for panfish. It's like one of our favorite things. We don't do multiple lines. We just do single line, straight line trolling, and usually it's a 2 or 3 inch twisty tail. And that just if you don't do anything else in your whole life, that just puts fish in the boat. And it's so fun, especially with panfish, because they school up.
Sure.
So you can manipulate your depth in the water by either changing your jig head size or letting more line out. And if you're, you can fish 3 people, 4 people, if you have a big enough boat, 2 lines each side, you can come through a school and be quadded up on panfish with those twisty tails. Or somebody could get a giant pike and somebody could get a big bass, and then you have 2 bluegills spinning around and everything is wrapped up. It's so much fun.
That's it. That's fun.
Yeah. Well, not at the time.
I don't think I've ever thought about trolling for panfish.
Oh man, you got to come out and fish
idea.
with us then.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Now that you guys got a beautiful house on the water.
Not
It's
on the
not on
water.
the
It's
water.
in the woods. We picked land over water because we travel too much for water.
Got you.
So
I
we
thought,
decided
yeah, I
we
thought you
couldn't be
guys were
stuck to one body of water.
Got it.
But we like having the woods because that's all we need is a little chunk.
Hmm?
I'm trying to do maple syrup right now.
I know, that's what I said. I need some of that. I'll trade you some fresh sauerkraut. We make fresh sauerkraut.
Oh,
Oh, there
yeah.
you go.
Okay, done deal.
Yeah.
I'll take a jar. I'll specifically write your name on it.
All right, perfect. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So I mean, I guess I have to ask, when you go to the boat, do you have any like lucky charms?
In the boat?
Yeah, like every time you go fishing, you like wear a lucky hat or like what some people, I don't know, sometimes tournament fishers, they have a thing.
The only thing I can't tell people is I
Oh,
have,
no, I don't want to ruin it if it's
no, it's fine because probably a lot of people don't know, but I have it in my hand right now. A rubbing rock.
Mm.
This keeps
That's
me
awesome.
calm. Yeah. So
you can do that while you're reeling fishing.
no, definitely not. But before, when we're going and like on the run and stuff, and like waiting to blast off. Oh yeah. Otherwise, like people on my boat know that I'm like up, down, ready to go. Like we're just. I mean, there's just so much energy, and I only have like 20 feet to hang out. So I need something to like keep the edge off. But other than that, yeah, like I used to be super superstitious when I played baseball. Like I played in college and I played afterwards, and like my glove had to be in a certain area. Like you couldn't touch my bats. Like my spikes had to be in a certain area. And yeah, with fishing, I was like, well, it didn't pan out for me in the baseball thing, so clearly it didn't work. So I just went to the rubbing rock.
Yeah.
Scott is asking how you feel about bananas.
Ooh, no bananas.
Yeah.
No bananas in the boat, which I don't even think it can hurt me at some point. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. What do you guys think about the no bananas in the boat?
I don't even like bananas, but I'll eat bananas for breakfast.
Wait, what?
I don't. They taste weird.
You just eat them for the heck of it then, just because they're in the house?
No, they're okay. So you had a funny story about Twisty Tails. I have a funny story about bananas, and I bet everybody has the same funny story. But we had kind of an annual get together that we do in the fall, and a bunch of buddies like Emily and I do fairly well, and it's usually on a body of water we only hit like once or twice a year, and same with these other guys, except for the one local guy that everybody comes up to visit. And
sure.
So
we were on our way, but we stopped at Quick Trip because
right.
That's what every good Wisconsinner does.
So everybody got breakfast or whatever, and everybody loads their boats onto the water, and we're getting out there. We're the last ones in line, and so we get out there, and I'm digging through, and I find a banana in my.
Like before we even hit the water. It was awesome. We found it.
Found the banana, and they
jinx us.
They were like, "Oh, I thought it would take you longer to find it." And I just drove. We put our lines in the water and we started trolling. And I was eating the banana and I set the hook.
And I have a picture of Josh eating this banana, and he hates bananas.
That is awesome.
And I hate it, but I set this hook in front of them, and they're like, "Oh man, that didn't even work."
That's pretty funny.
My lucky charm is Emily. She's always in the boat with me, and I always do pretty well. So
that's not true.
Yeah,
just some days. You just you don't remember the tough days. You just remember the hook sets.
If I didn't remember the tough days, I'd never learn.
I was gonna say I definitely remember the tough days. Like I've quit fishing like 100 times at least. My boat's been for sale for like 4 times. I think I was fishing with Barry, and we were in a tournament. And I was like, I'm just going to the landing, dude, and putting a for sale sign. Like, Rod, anything that's on this boat is for sale. Like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Yep.
Why do I feel like that would turn into like a meme, like a fishing meme or something, like you at the launch with a for sale sign?
Dude, it should be like, oh, it's bad days. There's bad days.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm looking forward to your season going better than that.
Me too. Thank you. I appreciate that.
When does your
Which
tournament
starts,
trail
we
start?
start on the 29th. We'll be in La Crosse on the river. So that'll be our first, well, actually, Chautauqua will be our very first tournament. And then, yeah, for the tournament trail, we'll be on the 29th in La Crosse. So that'll be pretty cool.
And then how frequently after that? Is it like every weekend? Is it once a month? Like how often are you in the tournaments after that?
So for the MLF, we're in like every 3 weeks, roughly. But then I fish the Tuesday Night League down here. Tuesday Night League, then we have a Sunday night Wildcat League that we fish. And then there's a single night that I'm joining too. So, yeah, we're on the water a lot. A lot, to say the least.
That is a lot. Are you like launching the boat by yourself, or you just always bring somebody with?
No. Sometimes I have people. A lot of times I'm by myself. And
if I didn't have him with, I don't know what I would do. We do.
It's like so tiring at times. You know what I mean? Like you're just like, I don't know if I want to do it again. Which is just, you launch the boat, then you got to beach it, then you got to do the trailer, then you got to go back. And, first world problems, I guess they call that. You know what I mean? Like, could be worse things, but yeah, it takes a lot. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. And then is there anything new going into this year that you are excited to try, or you're just going to kind of stick to what's working?
I think I'm just going to kind of stick to like kind of what's been working for the most part. Like every year I try and, kind of add something to my arsenal. And, middle last year, I kind of fell in love with the Carolina rig, and I didn't give it its 100% justice, but it definitely put some fish in the boat. So I think I'm just going to kind of roll with that as my new gem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, kind of basic, but it's working.
That's,
Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's exactly. I could not have said it better.
Yeah.
Well, gosh, I feel like I could sit here chatting all night. But we did talk about some great like behind the scenes stuff. And I know that I'm excited to watch what happens this whole open water season and, all of the different tournaments that you're going to, because that is always a lot of fun.
I appreciate it.
For people who maybe aren't following you yet, can you let them know where they can find you in your adventures?
Yes. So you can, we have a couple different chapters. So Bass_Muscle is my Instagram page. Line Cutterz, we have our Instagram page too. So you'll see a lot of like behind the scenes, a lot of our traveling together. Oh, I got a dog trying to break in. So you'll see a lot of that. So it's kind of cool because you have our main page and then, we have our individual pages. So it kind of gives the back scenes of like our different personalities and the things that we do. But those are the two main, and then Facebook, of course, just, Darran, Greene, of course.
Perfect. And hopefully we'll be seeing highlights of you on like MLF or Striker or some of these other, the Line Cutterz page. We never know.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we will be visiting you definitely at that store opening because that will be a whole bunch of fun. And who knows, maybe we'll get out fishing once this year.
I hope so. We still need to figure out that Zona thing. That's my unicorn. Remember, I don't ever get to see him.
Yeah. We're working on it.
That's true. For the people at home, I've always wanted to fish with Zona, and we always run into him, and one of these years it'll happen.
Yeah. He just diverts me. Like, I've been in the same area with him like 20 times, and he just disappears on me every time. I don't understand.
That's so funny. Well, maybe this is the year. We'll find out, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for taking your time and being here and chatting with us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate it. Much appreciated.
And much appreciation to the people at home as well for taking your time to hang out with us and chat fishing with us because we love that. Mm-hmm. And looking forward to seeing everyone on next week's edition of The Night Bite.